on the Western region and what the role it will play as to shaping the 2027 general elections. Of course, we have compiled a comprehensive report on the matter that then will be playing shortly as it ushers into the conversation. But of course, before then, I think it is only noble that we get to introduce the gentlemen that will be helping us decipher on this particular story. Some of them joining us virtually, others, of course, we're still awaiting to see them join us. But of course, we have two who are already here. Both of them hail from Western region. I stand corrected. They will tell us whether it is the truth or not. Martin Wanyonyi, a member of Parliament Webuye East, is expected to join us shortly. But of course, we have Martin Andati, political analyst. Thank you so much for creating time, Martin. We also have Elias Esikulu, former Bungoma senatorial candidate. Thank you so much for creating time. And we'll be having Professor Gitile Naituli, Professor of Management and Leadership, joining us all the way from Nakuru. We have our team down there, and therefore, of course, they will be connecting him to us for that critical conversation. Gentlemen, why I say you hail from Western Kenya is because your names sell you. I stand corrected. Or at least I've been following up on Martin. I am 101% sure. When I hear someone was vying for senatorial position in Bungoma, automatically that makes them a Luya? Maybe not. Automatically. Maybe, okay, maybe not, maybe yes. But yes, just what do you make of the Western region politics so far before we even get to the nitty-gritty details of it?
I think the term Western has an origin before the 2010 Constitution. There were provinces. The nation was divided into provinces.
Right.
Now, Western region was initially known as Western Province. Now, after 2010 Constitution,
yes,
it is Western region has actually 4 counties plus Trans Nzoia, because the people of Bungoma, originally Bungoma people, Bukusu, predominant community within Bungoma County,
right,
some of them moved to Trans Nzoia.
right,
And they are also the largest group, community within that county. So we can't isolate Trans Nzoia from Bungoma. So when we talk of Western region, we're actually looking at Bungoma County, Trans Nzoia, we are looking at Kakamega, we are looking at Vihiga, and Busia County. Now, going back to your question, politics. In my view, I think we have misused this term for quite a long time.
The term politics?
The term politics.
Okay.
Because the people on the ground think that politics is leadership.
Okay.
Which, according to me, that should not be the case.
Okay.
Politics sounds more partisan, selfish, because people who talk too much tend to focus more
on politics,
on their personal interests.
Okay.
Unlike leadership.
All right.
Yeah.
So we should have gone with leadership, you think. But then again, is it not the political activities that actually get us leaders? Martin Andati, I'll come back to you. Allow us to loop in Prof, who is joining us from Nakuru County. Professor Gitile Naituli, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, I can.
What do you make of the Mulembe Nation politics, the elusive Mulembe Nation, as they would call it?
The Mulembe Nation is complicated,
party. Yes.
But it's getting better, actually. It is getting much better right now.
Okay.
I think Natembe has done a fantastic job.
Okay.
Of uniting the Mulembe Nation. But the previous speaker, who was defining the politician and the leader, has also done a good job of definition, except he is right on the fact that the politician is not necessarily a leader. Because the politician will think of the next election.
Okay.
But the leader will think of the next generation.
Okay.
So there's a clear difference here. In other words, the politician is an extremely selfish person. While a leader is somebody who thinks about the future and is not transactional. The politician by nature is transactional. Okay. Now, what I'm saying about the Mulembe nation is people used to argue that it will take the Luyas extremely long time to produce a leader because they like to follow. They don't, as a majority, don't like to lead. So people will argue that it will take Kambas very long time to produce a leader because they like to follow. But what I'm seeing right now with the Mulembe, they have actually produced a leader. Okay. They have produced Sifuna, they have produced Natembea, and even Kamisi, Caleb Amisi. So it appears to me that they are emerging because you see, we live in a democracy. Right. And in democracy is about the numbers. So the people right now should be competing for the position of leadership. It should be the Luyas and the Kikuyus. Yes. But instead, the competition is between the Luyas, Kalenjin, and the Kikuyus. Because the Luyas are too busy following. Okay? Now they are waking up, and I like the job Natembe is doing. He has woken them up, and trust me, when they wake up, the Luyas will lead this country very soon. Okay. That's interesting, and I think I'll throw it direct to Martin to respond to perhaps some of the things that you have highlighted. And Prof raises a very important factor that I had set for us to discuss this evening, especially in the question of numbers. If we're going to look at the statistics of the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, you know, and in terms of the numbers, of course, the Registrar of Persons perhaps would confirm that if the Luyas do not fall top 2, then at least they are, you know, amongst the top 5, you know, most populated, regions in the country. And therefore, when we're talking about leadership, the irony of it all is that sometimes we want to focus on the top seat before we look at all these other, you know, representations. What do you think, or what do you make of the possibility of us ever having a Luya president?
You know, when you look at the numbers, the Mount Kenya vote is counted as one. Okay. But you know, it's not one community. You have the Kikuyus, you have the Merus, you have the Embus, you have the Mberes, you have the Tarakas. So anybody telling you that...
could extend to the Kamba, maybe?
No, not the Kamba. The Kamba is different. All right. But those ones now, we are talking about Mount Kenya. So when anybody tells you it's one community, they are not telling you the truth. Okay. Then when you look at the Luya numbers, the Luyas are the number 2 community in terms of numbers. But when it comes to the challenges in terms of being able to get the national leadership, it is historical. Okay. You know, when we, during the struggle for independence, we had Kadu and Kadu. The Luyas were predominantly in Kadu. Right. And when Kanu was being, when the dissolution of Kadu happened, Moi moved the other side and went on the Kanu side. Muliro and Shikuku, who were the key leaders of the Luya community that time, they went in very late. And you know, they believed in certain values. So because of that, they were not able to amass property. They were also not able to amass money. Okay. And you know, in our politics, money becomes a very key factor. Yeah. So that played a big role because most of our key leaders were locked out of accessing the opportunities. Right. Then Moi comes into power. in 1978 after the death of Kenyatta.
Right.
And he killed, he made sure he politically destroyed all the key Luhya leaders.
Okay.
He started with Muliro in Kitale East. He brought in Gumo. They locked out Muliro. Then he locked out the likes of Shukuku with time. He locked out the likes of Hasahala and all the other Luhya leaders who knew what being a Luhya is. So, and you know, before that he had come up with the issue of banning what he called tribal football clubs. And you know, AFC Leopards, which was a Balia football club, was one of the key rallying community club. So it had a big bearing in bringing the Luhya nation together. So Moi cleverly says that he will not allow tribal clubs. So Abaluya Football Club had to be changed into what they call AFC Leopards. But he allowed Gor Mahia, which is a Luo, it's a name of a magician, to remain, to maintain the name.
Why would he have done that?
Because he wanted, he knew the Luyas would be a problem to him. So he had to look for a way of neutering them. Yeah. And that is where some of those issues came in. But by and large, now what Prof has talked about, there is a lot of consciousness. And people are asking themselves, the Luhya nation are asking themselves, both those who are in the city, the urbanites and the ones in the village, they are asking themselves, where did the rain start beating them? So you see, when you hear Natembeya talking about Tawe, you know, if you ask anybody in the whole country, they know what Tawe is all about. It's rejecting what is not right. And it is rallying, you know, the community. So the Luhya nation now, the consciousness is very high, and people are asking themselves, where did we lose it? And I can tell you, in the coming elections, the Luhya nation is going to be a very key player in this whole equation. But you know, Western Kenya is not just about Luhyas.
I want to agree with that.
You also have Tesos in Busia. They are quite substantial. A few of them are also in Bungoma. Then you also have Mount Elgon, who are the Sabaots. They are in Mount Elgon, which is also part of the what is called the Western Bloc. But you know, the way my brother he explained, when you talk about the Western region, you don't just talk about the former Western province. You must factor in Trans-Nzoia, which was more or less a settlement scheme, and which was predominantly occupied by the Luhyas as the majority. Then the other communities came in at least, but the majority of the occupants are the Luhya nation. But there are also so many other Luhyas out here. You know, the Luhyas in the diaspora are as many as, if not more than even the Luhyas in the village. Yeah, if you come to, because of the nature of the demographics and those historical issues I've told you, you have so many Luhya people out in the towns. If you come to Nairobi, you'll find there are quite a number. Go to Nakuru, you'll find there are so many of them there. If you go to Mombasa, you'll find there are quite a number. Go even to places like Thika, where you had the industries. You know, Thika was supposed to be the Birmingham of Kenya. So Kenyatta established the industries there, and we had quite a number of the Luhya populace. Then you also have those ones who are even working in the farms. So the Luhyas out there in the diaspora also are big numbers. All right, and I'm glad that you bring in a lot of aspects to this, but of importance I also pick the element of industries and you know, the fact that Kenyatta built this size of Mount Kenya, some more of course to bring in you know, people from different other regions to work. But you speak of resources that are very critical to individuals, but equally to, you know, a region so that they can negotiate. Because when you go to central Kenya, you will hear them negotiate on basis of we are businessmen and we must protect our businesses and all that. You will go to different regions where they will say, well, we have our milk or we have this and that. For the longest of time, we have known Western for paper, we have known Western for sugar. But this is dwindling by the day. Just how much of a disadvantage has this been for us, or this is going to be even in the long run?
I think the leadership question in Western is still not clear. the common mwananchi does not actually understand the difference between a politician and a leader.
Okay.
So they mistake politicians to mean leaders.
Okay.
When, in my view, they are supposed to be intertwined. Because of that misinterpretation, those who make a lot of noise confuse people. They want to tell people that politicians have all your answers, which in my view, we must deviate from that.
Are we democratically ready for that, honestly? I mean, are we going to...
The problem, my brother here, let me just interject a bit before you proceed. You know, the problem is we are in a democracy. And the kind of system we have will not give you to get that theoretical leadership. So what you need to do is to look for means and ways of finding your way into the system.
Right.
Then once you are in, you can now influence policy and be able to change things once you are in.
As a leader?
As a leader.
Okay.
But the problem, the challenge, if you try to get into the political world from a leadership perspective, you'll not get it.
All right.
I think that's why I'm saying there is that mismatch. We have dwelled so much on politics and forgot about leadership. Go to Meru, go to many places, the Somali community in northeastern Kenya. They have very deeply entrenched cultural systems. The elders are so strong. And when the elders speak, the community hears.
Is that leadership according to you?
Even more than, not according to me, it's practical. We see on television what happens in those places. Who anoints, you know, those elders are both...
Children checkers?
Yes, they are both spiritual and like secular in terms of organizing the communities. To come together and speak with one voice. And in most cases, you'll find what happens at the back door, before a politician emerges, the wazes have already finished the job. Now, that is unlike Western region, where the elders, you can't even define who is an elder in Western Kenya.
I want you to hold your thoughts at that very point so that we...
So there's some point we lost the mark on that.
All right. And
community leaders.
And you know, Professor is here. He's from Nchurincheke.
Yes.
He's going to tell us whether there's any contribution that this kind of leadership has made in terms of even shaping the political space as they grow up. Allow us to take a short break, and then we come back, expound some more on that. And of course, we'll be bringing you that piece that has ably been compiled by our very own Elizabeth Mutuko, with different voices from different quarters as to what they make of the Western region politics. After this break.